at this moment. So I'm not doing a keynote speech, but it's more some of the information that what we've done during the G20s. As you know, since the beginning of G20, Indonesia really pushed the issue of people-to-people movement. This is why Indonesia having the first Religion 20 conference and also Music 20 conference that we are also presenting to India for a future presidency. But of course, as sport people, I think it's an honor for me to having also the people-to-people movement through sports. This is why actually when we have a discussion with Mr. President that if we can invite President Thomas Bah as a president of IOC to be present in Indonesia, it will be an honor, and I think it's a good movement for us. That's why during the leaders' lunch, Mr. Thomas Bah gave a very excellent speech among all the head of nations, and then of course Mr. Thomas Bah will inform the details of his speech during the lunch. But the continuation of that, then this is why our president, President Joko Widodo, this morning having I will say declarations that are where Indonesia stands regarding sport neutralities. This is why I would read what he said this morning as a chair of the G20 in 2022, and together with other G20 leaders, I underscores the importance of sports for health and its power to unite the world, especially in the current global situations. The success of the next Olympic and Paralympics Games in Paris in 2024, Milano Cortina in 2026, which is a Winter Olympics, Los Angeles in 2026, Brisbane in 2032, and Youth Olympic Games 2024 in Gangwon as a Winters, and Dakar in 2026 will be highlight the importance of preserving political neutrality in international sports event and governing bodies. At the same time, Mr. President also saying in his speech, in this occasion, I convey Indonesia readiness to host the Olympic 2036 at the Nusantara capital city. I think this is what a brief opening from me, and I think we can follow to His Excellency Mr. Thomas Bah as a President of IOC. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, and dear IOC colleague and a friend. And good evening to all of you. It was indeed a great honor to be invited by your President, Mr. Joko Widodo, for this G20 summit meeting, in particular because the motto of this G20 meeting here was perfectly resonating with our Olympic motto. The motto of the G20 summit meeting was recover together, recover stronger. The new Olympic motto is faster, higher, stronger, together. So it was a perfect fit between these two guidelines for how to address the problems we actually share in this very divisive and confrontational world. And this gave me the opportunity yesterday to explain to these world leaders how and how much sport and the Olympic Games are affected by this division in the world, and that actually we can see some trends which would lead there also to the division of the world of sports. And as you may know, the world of sports is the only area at this moment where everybody in the world respects the same rules and where everybody competes with everybody. So we had to experience that a number of governments want to decide which athlete can take part in which competitions. And this is, of course, for international sports, a very dangerous development, because if this would become the norm, international sports would fall apart. And therefore, I took the opportunity yesterday to convey this message to the world leaders assembled here in the G20, and was very happy then in subsequent individual conversations with a big number of them about the very positive response to this call to the world leaders to respect the political neutrality of sport, and this way enabling sport to make a contribution to conciliation and peace. And then I was even more grateful today to be informed about the statement of President Joko Widodo in his capacity as the G20 chair, underlining this principle of respect for the political neutrality of sport, supporting this the political neutrality, emphasizing the role of sport as a unifying factor in our so divisive world, and at the same time also underlining the importance of sport for a better health and for healthy societies, because health was another very important topic of this G20 meeting. And also there it was acknowledged, and the pandemic showed it to everybody, how important sport is for physical and mental health, and that there is no healthy society without sport and physical activity. So I would really like to express my deep gratitude to the President for this very strong and encouraging statement on behalf of this summit. And this statement will play a very important role in all the future deliberations of the IOC, how to shape this political neutrality in this divisive world.
Thank you, His Excellency. Now it's time for Minister Zainuddin Amali for the explanation.
Okay. Good evening, all of you. On behalf of the Indonesian government, I would like to thank the Honorable President of the IOC, Mr. Thomas Bach, for attending the G20 high-level conference. We really appreciate your noble presence at this honorable event, which has also given another color and made the both sport community proud in the general and Indonesia in particular. President IOC arrival to Indonesia will have a big impact to the development of sport in Indonesia, especially when it's linked to President Joko Widodo's statement made earlier, namely Indonesia set to host the Olympic in 2036 to come. Indonesia has experience hosting several sporting events in the form of multi-event or a single event. We can prepare all the facilities required by the IOC, as we have done when hosting the 2018 Asian Games and Asian Para Games, as well as various other single event activity, including the World Superbike and MotoGP in Mandalika, and various World Championship in several sports what we have done in Indonesia. I hope the IOC can give us the opportunity to prepare for our desire to host the 2036 Olympics. That's our hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can only warmly welcome this readiness of Indonesia, because it is fitting very well into the new philosophy of the IOC for the organization of future Olympic Games. Would like first of all to emphasize again what President Widodo has emphasized today, that how much the Olympic Games can contribute to unity. And in fact, you know, they are contributing a lot to unity in the host country, because normally the population is coming behind these games, and sport is always a unifying factor for all walks of life in any society. And Indonesia is also a great example for harmony and diversity. And in fact, one of our goals is unity in diversity, and there Indonesia is a living example with your tremendously diverse culture and the harmony with which these different cultures, religious beliefs and political ideas are living together is really a shining example of this Olympic spirit. And therefore, you know, such Olympic Games here in Indonesia would convey this message of unity in diversity, would convey this message of tolerance and brotherhood. And if I come back to the Olympic motto and to the motto of the summit, would convey this spirit of being together to the whole world. And these Olympic Games happening then in a sustainable city, in a role model for future sustainable and healthy living in Nusantara, with a special emphasis on health and physical activity. So this is a very intriguing project, which I warmly welcome, and for which I offer very close cooperation by the International Olympic Committee to develop this project further. So to come together, again, together, to the best possible Olympic project for Indonesia and the international Olympic community.
All right, thank you, His Excellency. Mr. Rector, is there anything else?
Is that any question answer first?
Okay, so it's time for now for Q&A session for any one of you, or you go first.
Okay, I'm John Robin from Narasi. First of all, of course, we are surprised of this statement by President Joko Widodo about the Indonesia is ready for hosting the Olympic 2036. But the main question is, how serious is this offer, and why Indonesia want to take part as the host of 2036 Olympics? Thank you.
The question is to whom?
To whom? Okay. Pak Zainuddin first, Pak, silakan. Ya, please. Ya, please.
Dari wartawan sini kan?
Iya, wartawan sini.
Oke. Baik, kita sangat serius untuk menjadi tuan rumah Olimpiade 2036. Sebenarnya kita ini bidding untuk 2032. Tetapi kita kalah cepat, akhirnya IOC menetapkan Brisbane untuk 2032. Nah, karena itu maka kita masih berkeinginan untuk menjadi tuan rumah 2036. Jadi kalau ditanya seberapa serius, kita sangat serius. Dan tadi saya sampaikan kita sudah pernah punya pengalaman untuk multi event ya, Asian Games, Pak Erik kan ininya ketuanya waktu itu dan sukses. Kemudian apa yang kita sedang persiapkan, tentu kita akan mengikuti apa yang diarahkan oleh IOC. Kita continue dialogue dan kita minta panduan-panduan dari IOC. Saya kira itu.
So again for myself, Mr. President, this morning after he make a statement that he gave me a call and give me a directive that as an IOC member, I need to bridge the continuation discussion and preparations for Indonesia with, of course, with President Thomas Bah as an IOC's president. At the same time, to liaison with Minister of Sport, Mr. Zainuddin Amali, and also the NOC President, Mr. Otto. So, but again, just to edit what Minister of Sport say, that as Indonesia, we're serious on bidding these Olympics, because as you know, by 2045, we are having the 100-year celebrations, which is the golden generations of Indonesia. This is why, if you look at some of the big events that host Indonesia, such as G20, I really believe is a very successful G20 event at this moment. Because this is why also Mr. Thomas Bah insists, this is a chance for the world to create peaceful. And you know, the foundation of Indonesia also is unity in diversity, which is, this is what we shown last night during the dinner of the G20 when all the head of nation was there. That this is the belief, and through sport, this is something that we can create a peaceful movement. I really hope, and we are really serious taking on this, and hopefully we can have also support from other members of IOC.
Right. Thank you, Minister. Next question, please. Okay.
Good evening to both you all. My name is Andi from Kata Data. There's a few questions that I want to ask. First is the University of Oxford has released a study in 2020 about the cost of Olympic Games. In these studies, it says that the IOC should have contribute at least 10% in Olympic. How do Mr. Bah respond to these studies? And for Mr. Eric and Mr. Amali, the Olympic is not really economically, it's not giving you the return that it should be. I mean, it's not profitable in economic sense. Last Olympic that have profitable is in Los Angeles in these studies. So why the government of Indonesia